Hey y'all. Hey. It's time for our September wrap up, y'all. It is October the 11th, I think. And I am just getting to you guys with this September wrap up. I'm sorry, I am super late, but never late and sorry, okay? So I read, I want to say about 11 or 12 books in the month of September. I think I read like one book off of my Kindle. And I actually did really like that book. I'll have to look it up on my phone to see like what star rating that I gave this book. Actually, I'm gonna have to look up on my phone what star rating that I gave all of these books, because I actually do try to keep up with my Goodreads, and once I actually put my star rating on Goodreads, y'all, unless I really rated that book 4 or 5 stars, I'm not gonna lie to you, I really do not remember anything that or the star rating that I put on Goodreads for that book, and I kind of want them to be together. So guys, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. This is Yolanda's Books. You are looking at Yolanda from Yolanda's Books, and over here we like to do a few things lifestyle, and mostly things about books that surround around lifestyle. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, tell a friend, do all the things that us content creators love for you guys to do. And we're going to just jump straight into this video. So this is a car wrap up. I hope you guys don't mind, but I had to work today, so I had to fit it in where I can get it in. And first though, y'all, I want to show you guys 2 books that I bought from the Thomasville Bookfest. I will search my phone and Danisha's Facebook page to see if I can actually put up like a vertical clip of some of the things that happened at the Thomasville Bookfest. If it's not like a little short video, I'll just pop up a few pictures of how the area looked. It actually turned out very, very good. I was late to the party, so I did not vlog that experience at all, but for her first time doing this book fest, y'all, it turned out super good, and I was just so excited for her. So I did purchase a couple of things from this book fest. I purchased 3 books. One book was for my granddaughter Rain. It was a book about sharing, and the other 2 are fantasy books, actually, y'all. And y'all know how I am about fantasies. I cannot even believe like these fantasy books really caught my attention, but there was a lot of fantasy book writers there, and like more of like kids book writers, and like affirmations, like books that has like a lot of affirmations and things in them. So like as far as like a lot of romance, a lot of horror, all that kind of genres, they was not really there. It was more of like a fantasy realm type book fest to me, but overall I think it turned out very good. And let me show you guys the books that I actually got from that book fest. So this one is by A. Marie Cantrell. It is called Life Sharper, and it is a fantasy book. And to my understanding, this book is just pretty much about a goddess who disappeared from the, well, let me read the back of it. Before they disappeared from the world, the nameless goddess bestowed humanity with strong abilities to manipulate the world around them. Now Princess Katina wields a gift unlike any other, the ability to breathe life into existence. But when her control falters at her uncle's investor ball, tragedy strikes. Hunted by the emperor and hunted by her fragmented memories, Katina seeks refuge in a nearby temple. There she encounters Wern, a rabbi leader with the power of definitely death. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this book. I looked at the dialogue and the writing in the book, and I mean, it seems like it will be okay. It has a lot of page breaks in it and all the things. Y'all know I love that kind of stuff. So book number 1 is what we got from the book fest. All right, guys, so this right here is the final and last book that I got from that book fest that we had in Thomasville, Georgia. This is a fantasy as well, and it is called Mercy Lights. It is book 1 in the Source Keepers series, according to the actual author, who is Jesse Anderson. It says Mercy has been keeping a secret from his loved ones and his village, a secret that could very well end his life. Descended from a group of ancient warriors from Itus, Mercy is destined to become the greatest keeper of light the planet has ever seen, but one mistake will cost him everything. With his secret out, Mercy must now find a way to free his people and keep himself alive before Queen Marla and her Unity Council can cause any more damage. With the help of his best friend Silas and an unlikely ally from the capital of Aura, Mercy will need to master his keeping of the light source and learn to accept who he was always meant to be. And so this right here is actually a sci-fi fantasy novel. Mercy must go on a life-changing journey to find his inner strength, confront his trauma, face his greatest fears, and find his voice. So I feel like this book right here will probably be a very, very new type fantasy read to me, because it says it's sci-fi fantasy, and I'm not really that sci-fi girly, but I did like the cover of this book. So hopefully, guys, that book or these 2 books will be very nice books for me to put on my genres to read. So guys, let's get down and dirty with what we are actually here for, y'all, because sooner or later I'm gonna have to go back inside. So we're gonna start off with our September wrap up. The first one we're going to talk about is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. I gave this book a 4-star read. And guys, if you don't mind, I will just read what I wrote on Goodreads for these books. This is the first book, 4-star read. I was so glad that I decided to pick this book up and read it. I read this book in one day and I love the read. Lucy was such a hothead and at first that knew Lucy was such a hothead at first that knew what she, I don't know what I was saying there, but Lucy was a hothead. She knew what she wanted and was determined to get it done, and she loved her mom and the cup of joe so much, which was the coffee shop. I loved how determined she was and her spiciness to come with it. She was just like, I mean, she really said what was on her mind, and she did not care, like, at that moment, like, what people felt. I thought that was just like the spiciest spice in this book. There was a part in the book where Lucy actually says pumpkin spice and everything nice, and I like to jump out of my reading nook because I love the part. I love when a part in the book mentions the name of the book. Lucy and Jack were enemies at first until Lucy finally seen him for who he was. Just a nice guy that happened to be the son of Java Junction's cafe across the street, but such a cozy read. Y'all, this book was such a cozy read. I really did enjoy this book, and I enjoyed the interaction between Lucy and Jack. And Lucy, I just really enjoyed her character because she is what really kept the book popping. So the next book that we're gonna talk about, guys, is by Sarah Adams, and it is called Practice Makes Perfect. It is part 2 in the When in Rome series, and I gave this book a 3-star read. If you like small town romance books that just goes on and on and on, I feel like you will like this book. This book, I feel like, was kind of like not enemies to lovers, but probably like a second chance at romance, in my opinion, because Annie And what was his name? He was like Will. He was like the guard of the lady that was in the very first book, When in Rome. And it just really warmed my heart. This was just like a small town sweetheart and emotional, roller coaster type book, in my opinion. And I really did truly enjoy this book, y'all. The next book we're going to talk about is the third book in the When in Rome series. It's called Beg, Borrow, and Steal, and it is by Sarah Adams. And I gave this book also a 3-star read. At this point, I think I was just like kind of like tired of reading like the small time romance book, and that's why I say like I try not to read books in series that has too many books to the series, because after a while I'll just get tired of reading about the same type of trope, in a sense. Not saying that I get tired of reading like the enemies to lovers tropes, not saying that I'll get tired of like reading the second chance at romance trope, but I'm just saying like in the same realm of that particular town, like When in Rome. Like, okay, how, it's a small town, so I feel like 3 books should be enough, because if it is a small town, like how many people are in that town? Like how far can it go? But this book right here was really intriguing to me. It was 2 feuding second grade teachers. They really did not specify or have a lot of scenes in this book about them actually being teachers. They were it was pretty much about them like feuding because they were neighbors and they just happened to be teachers. But the excitement in this book, the things that Emily did to Jack in this book was just so funny. I could tell that Emily was really into Jack. She just did not know how to take herself being into Jack like that. But it was really cute, and I really did enjoy the read. The next book that I read, guys, and fairly enjoyed was You've Reached Sam, and it is a series. It's the series called You've Reached Sam. The first book is called You've Reached Sam. I rated this book a 3-star read, and I said I thought that I would not like this book, and I did. In the beginning it was like a slow burn to me, and I'm like what did I get myself into? Pretty cover, but will I like the information in this book? When it started out, because I am not a super big fan of slow burns, and that is what I felt like this was. But as the book goes on, I was like, OMG, this book will make me cry. Y'all, once I actually grasp the concept of why they look like this on the cover, like it almost made me cry, y'all. This book has some trigger warnings in it as far as like grief and dealing with death, so y'all be aware of that. And like this book just really almost made me cry. The grieving that is in this book was over the top, and it was just a lot to take in. I just knew, because I just know because I have lost some family members and friends, and it was a real deal, and people go through it differently, but it is something that is really tragic to deal with. The way she dealt with it was heartbreaking to me. Great book though. The way that his girlfriend Julie dealt with Sam's situation in this book was just really heartbreaking to me. The concept of what this book was about was just, I mean, it can hit home, and it can really like trigger some things in a person, like if they actually really went through what Julie was going through and Sam's family in this book. So just be aware of that, guys, and if you feel like it's going to trigger you in some type of way, please just bypass this book. But I did enjoy that book. I gave that book a 3-star read. The next book that I read for the month of September was, of course, The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I gave this book a 5-star read. Y'all, this is a classic. I can say so much about this book, but I'm not gonna like go on and on and on about this book. But of course, y'all know Color Purple. It is just in modern African American literature. And it was written in the early 20th century. It is just about Celie and Nettie, how they actually got separated as girls, and just the things that Celie went through, the things that Nettie went through, and just how they actually overcame that and how their life actually turned out. But guys, I will always love this book, and I can read it over and over again. It's just, you know, something that will always stick to my near and dear to my heart, and I will just always want to read this book. The next book that I read, and I was so excited I got to this book, y'all. It is the second book in a Good Guides to Murder series. It is Good Girl, Bad Blood, and I gave this book a 4-star read. Y'all, I love this book. Pippi, like, I love reading anything about her once I read that first book in this series. And the only thing I can say, y'all, is that I just love the series so much. Pippi and her podcast was just a vibe for me. Y'all know how I feel about podcasts. I have one of my own that I'm actually trying to get kicked off. It's not going the way I want it to because of my busyness and my non-structured life. But I love a podcast, and Pippi, she was like determined that she was not going to get back into investigations, all the things, but she had to because of the cause. And y'all, I just really love the structure written in this book because of some of the podcast vibes. It has some actual graffiti in this book, and like, you know, you could just tell that it was actually like a murder mystery. Like, the vibe Holly Jackson has in her books is just a vibe that I always will love, and I will always read her books. I can't wait to get to the next books that is actually in that series, but I'm taking my time because I just really don't want the vibe to end with Pippi. The next book that we read was You're Fatally Invited by this author here. Not quite sure how to say the name, so that's why I showed it to you guys. I gave this book a 3-star read. I didn't give it a 3-star read because I did not think the book was a good read. It was a really good mystery, horror, whatever you want to call it, read. It's just that, y'all, it was how many people? It was 6, I think, people that was invited to a writing retreat on a private mare off the coast, and it just had too many freaking POVs to it. I was like, my God, I'm getting so confused. And then on top of that, some of the POVs of the people or person or whatever that was in the book was it was just a lot. It was a lot. It was overwhelming, and I just felt like, I don't know, maybe the book would not have been the book if it didn't have all the different POVs to it, since all of those people were actually invited to this offshore, off coast manor. But y'all, it was just too much stimulation for me. But I did give this book a 3-star read. I thought about this book since I have read it, and this was sometime after I read it, and I actually picked it up to a 3.5-star read. This book was had a huge amount of POVs in it, and I was super confused on what was going on and why. I was just like, what the freak is going on? Until like the middle of the book, and then the thing started to get it interesting. The book was a complete page turner, and wanted me to, this book was a complete page turner, and I wanted to read the book so bad, and I was glad that I did because I was so surprised of the outcome and who it was. Read the book, y'all. I I guess, I don't know, I guess I really don't read back over sometimes what I wrote on Goodreads, and when I do have to read it back, it's like, what the hell are you writing? Like, what did you mean? So I'm gonna have to pay closer attention to like what I'm putting on Goodreads and how it reads back, because I'm like, I hate trying to correct myself in front of y'all. But anyway, guys, I did give this book a 3.5 star read. This next book, y'all, is a book that I had been wanting to read for quite some time, and it is Beartown by Frederick Backman. And of course, y'all know this is book 1 of the Beartown series. I read 2 books from this series, but Beartown, I actually gave it a 3-star read. I don't know how I feel about this book, and I still don't know how I feel about this book at this point, y'all. I enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. But what do I have to say about this book? Some of the things that happened in this book was very tragic, and I can see how like it also happens in the real world, how people, like if you're in sports and things like that, and especially with it being a small town and like hockey, this is like a hockey based book, especially like with it being in a small town, and like that town needs that hockey as, you know, publicity to, you know, like keep it afloat. I can see how like some people on that team can like do things and actually get away with it and have no consequences, or at least it seems like they don't. So this book is what that kind of reminded me of. So like it was kind of sad toward the end of the book, once, you know, something had came out within the book and all the things. But did I enjoy the read? Yes, I did. Just because I gave it a 3-star read did not mean that I did not actually enjoy the book. I did enjoy the book. It's just that Frederick Backman, I've been trying to get into his writing, y'all, and it is just not working for me. So I think I'll probably just give up trying to read his books, because I don't know, his books is just not working out for me. Another book, and I don't know, I think I probably talked about this book on a different video, but in September we did read Bright Young Women, which I gave a 3-star read. I started Let Me Love You in August, finished it in like the 3rd day in September, so I think I've already talked about that one as well. Y'all, I read another Frederick Backman book, and I don't have the book because it was a library book, so I'll pop it up on the screen. It was Anxious People by Frederick Backman. Somebody told me off of either one of my platforms to read The Anxious People by Frederick Backman after I was talking about Beartown, so I gave it a shot. It was at my local library, so I borrowed it, gave it a 2-star read. Y'all, Frederick Backman is just not a author for me. I said Frederick Backman. I'm doing so good with trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but damn, this book was just not the best book to me. Just did not make sense to me. So I do have My Friends on hold at the library. I want to try to read that one, but if I don't get the feeling that I want from that book, I think I'm gonna just leave it alone and just say Frederick Backman's writings is just not for me. Also, pop up a picture, I read Us Against You, which is the 2nd book in the Beartown series. I gave that a 3-star read. I'm gonna just read what I wrote, y'all. I said, well, what can I say about this book? I enjoyed this book more than I enjoyed Beartown. I think I probably did because like the things had already unfolded at the end of Beartown, and like when I read Us Against You, it was like, okay, now we're getting something with this series. Now we're getting somewhere with this series. Now, you know, like what are the consequences for this? What is going to happen to this kid? And then some other things came out in Us Against You, so that book was pretty interesting to me, y'all. So it did get a 3-star read. I guess Berton just really made this book worth the read. I can say that Frederick Bateman is not my favorite author, but I just want to read his books, and I'm so trying to give myself a chance. But this book had this book had such a great meaning to it that came to the gay community and something people go through all the time, which is rape, y'all. Rape. What the team and the family was going through really was deep, because a lot of it was what they had no control over being. And all I can say is being in this. When I was writing on Goodreads, I'm trying not to spoil anything, so that's why I just wrote being. Was proud of his outcome. So I did enjoy the second book in the Baritone series. I want to read the third book, which is, I want to say, The Winners. I did have it as a library book, but I had to turn it back in. I wanted to get the audio for it, so once I get the audio, I think I will actually try to check out that book and see what The Winners are about, because I'm very curious now that I've read the second book in the series. Y'all, we also read Really Good, actually, by Monica Hisley. I want to say that's how you say it. I gave that book a 2-star read. I did not like that book, period, at all. I mean, from what I remember, I don't think I liked that book. This book, what do or can I say about this book? This book was not what I expected, and glad that I did not buy the physical book, even though I was so tempted every time I went into the bookstore, y'all, to buy the physical book, because I just love the way the cover looked. Was interesting, but not enough for me to want to read it again or recommend it. 2-star read. It was just not for me. It was a lot of inner thoughts to me, because the character in this book, it was just mainly about her, and like, I don't know, it just wasn't interesting to me, and I just did not enjoy the ride that I was supposed to be getting from reading the book. Last book that I read was on my Kindle, and it is called Saint Ave by Cherie Lewis. I hope I'm saying that name right, but I gave that book a 4-star read. Y'all, I enjoyed that book. That book was pretty much surrounded around Jasmine, I want to say was her name, Old South, and his twins, and of course the mom and the sister. But guys, Old South in this book really reminded me of God, what was his name in Little Saint? What was his name? Saint, oh my God, hold on, y'all, because I'm getting them mixed up now. Old South was in the book that this book reminded me of, which was Let Me Love You. Let Me Love You and Saint Ave really had the same type of vibe to me, but just with different characters, which really made the book what it is worth. Yasmin in it's not Little Saint, it's Saint something. But anyway, guys, I really did enjoy this book. I love the interaction with Saint and actually Jasmine in this book. I love the interaction with the twins, how they really took to Yasmin, how Saint actually took to Yasmin. This book had a lot of drama in it, as far as Saint and his mom, Saint being the type of person that he is and the things that he had to go through. I love Saint and his sister's relationship, because it seemed like that was the only two people that they had besides their grandparents, but they had passed away. Yasmin, she deserved everything that she got. I felt like she was such a down-to-earth person, and I really did enjoy her character. Those little twins, like, they were so freaking cute, and they were so spoiled in the same concept, y'all, but they were so freaking cute. His mom, Natasha, I could have wrung her freaking neck, y'all. She was just over the top. Like, Oh my god, I just did not like her character in this book. But overall, guys, I gave that book a 4-star read. I really did enjoy the read. And guys, those were the books that I read in those were books that I read in the month of September, at least all the ones that I remember. And I really enjoyed myself reading these books. I read more books than I actually thought that I read, so I'm very proud of myself. October is here. I am digging deep into my October reads. Like, y'all, it is going so freaking good. And I am so proud of myself for the amount of books like I have already read so far in the month of October. I love to tandem read, so I read a lot of books by following along with the audio when I don't actually have the physical book in hand, and then when I am somewhere where I can actually concentrate, I actually, you know, pick up the book and read along with the audio. And I really truly love it, y'all. I really and truly love it. Forgot I had on this microphone while I was putting those books away. If y'all heard a lot of noise, I apologize for that. But guys, thank you so much for sticking around for this September wrap up. I really did enjoy talking to you guys. If you stayed to the end, give me this emoji, and I will see you guys in the next video. I don't even know what that video is going to be about, guys, but I really need to start reading some books. So the next one will probably be a reading vlog. But I'm not sure, and there's a lot of other things that I actually want to do during the time I am doing that reading vlog, so I am super excited about that. I seen this little thing that Shaughnessy was doing on her vlogs where she go to different places and actually get some reading done. I want to try that as well, because I feel like that also will give me a lot of time to do some reading and get some reading done and all the things. And guys, again, thank you so much, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.